So now that it's been a couple of days since the end of the Black Ops 4 beta for weekend 2, Treyarch has now had enough time to look at some of the more obvious issues that were faced when playing this beta and have already worked on solutions to resolve some of these issues. What is going on, you guys? This is Gaming with Sal and welcome back to the channel. Now, just like I said, there was a lot of problems that came up within the Black Ops 4 beta, and it's no secret that that was the case, because no matter if you guys enjoyed the game or if you guys hated the game, it still was no secret that the beta had a lot of issues and they definitely need to be worked on before the game launches on October 12th. Now, I'm going to basically be going over some of the issues that Treyarch has already addressed within this Reddit post, which, by the way, I will leave a link in the description below if you guys want to go ahead and check out yourselves. And I'm going to go ahead and explain what were some of the solutions that were made or offered to fix some of these issues. But at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and also let you guys know that there are probably and most definitely issues that are still in the game that haven't been addressed within this Reddit post, and I have a feeling that they're going to be addressing those certain issues in the days to come or the weeks ahead. But I'm pretty sure they're going to be fixing those issues as well, because there are issues that weren't talked about on this Reddit post, such as score streaks, which I'm going to be making a video dedicated just for that, so stay tuned for that. But basically what I'm trying to say, that there are some issues that were faced and were addressed within this Reddit post, and they are bringing actually pretty good, decent solutions to some of these problems. So let's go ahead and get right into it. The first thing that's on this list is about the fog of war and the minimap awareness. So basically the main issue with the fog of war during the beta was that whenever we have our player icons, if you guys noticed, the fog of war was a complete 360-degree radius around the player icon, which basically means that if an enemy was approaching from behind you, from the side, from the front, if they entered your fog of war, they were gonna immediately show up on the minimap as a red dot. Now, why is this a problem? Well, suppose an enemy is trying to come up to you and take like a stealthy tactic and trying to melee you from the back. Well, guess what? They can't really do that successfully unless if they're really quick and they really know how to get to you before you can even react. But the point is, they can't completely do that without revealing themselves by entering into your fog of war, and this created a huge issue of stealthy players not being able to use their stealthy play style due to showing up on these mini maps because they're entering their enemy's fog of war. So the main solution that a lot of YouTubers out there and a lot of people who kind of were affected by this suggested was that instead of having a 360-degree radius around your player icon on the minimap, how about just have a cone that kind of faces in a direction of where you're facing forward? So basically the fog of war is no longer on like the sides and behind you. It's more like just in front of you in the shape of a cone, and that's exactly what they're doing with the fog of war. They're going to be changing it from the 360-degree radius that's surrounding your entire player icon and making it where the fog of war is only facing in the direction that you're facing. But at the same time, this entire 360-degree radius for the fog of war is not going away completely. Treyarch also talked about how they're going to be moving this ability to the team link perk. This way, players who want that power will need to spend a point in their create a class system to get it and compete with their choices for other powerful items that are also available within the create a class system, and this will also give the team link perk a much needed boost as it's significantly underperformed in the beta. So this is great, because if you want the ability to be able to see whether or not an enemy player is coming up behind you or from the side without having to be able to look in that direction, you have to spend a point and give up something that you can possibly take in replacement in the create a class system, and it creates a balance, like I said. So that's something that's great that's coming to the fog of war. And along with that, they're also going to be adding additional HUD indicators that let you know whenever you're visible to enemy players. Red dots in the minimap that appear when firing your gun will fade faster, so there's more time to evade after engaging in a gunfight, and those same red dots will no longer reveal teammates that are near the player that's firing their gun. So overall, those are the changes that are coming to the fog of war and the minimap awareness. Next up, it's talking about the tac deploy beacon and spawning. So they basically talked about how they know that the spawn systems were kind of all over the place, especially in game modes such as domination, and that they also addressed that it's impossible to get the percentage of bad spawns down to 0, but that they are constantly trying to tune it to get it as low as possible, and generally so that it's in the 2 to 3% range, which means we're barely going to be seeing any bad spawns from time to time or game to game. So that's nice to hear, because the spawns really were all over the place whenever it came to this beta. And alongside with this, they also really hammered down on the tac deploy beacon, because they knew that it was causing bad spawns in the sense that people were kind of maybe spawning way too close to one another, and that the radius of the tac deploy beacon was a little too small and kind of making it where all the players that are spawning in on that tac deploy beacon kind of congested. So what they're doing to fix all of these issues is that they're going to be shortening the duration of the tac deploy beacon and how long it's active. It's going to lengthen its cooldown time, and it's going to limit the number of spawns per use to 10. So with this fix, you can still go ahead and have those changes into like the flow of the map and the flow of the spawns, but at the same time not creating it where it's too chaotic. Another thing that Treyarch is doing is that they are relaxing the radius around which players will spawn on the tac deploy beacon so that there is more room to spread out, and that way when enemies are trying to come in and disable the tac deploy beacon, they're not getting overwhelmed with all of the people that are just spawning in on that tac deploy beacon. And that's something that's great. Like I said, it kind of reduces that congested feeling whenever people spawn in, and that's pretty much all I can say whenever it comes to that. And the last thing that they said is that they are adding a notification to the death cam where it kind of breaks into third person whenever you die, and it displays when a tac deploy beacon is active and whether there is danger nearby, and another notification that appears in the game HUD after you spawn in on a tac deploy beacon. So basically it kind of just helps you whether or not to make a decision. Should I spawn on this tac deploy beacon, or should I just let the random spawn do its thing? So that's one thing that's going to encourage kind of that calm, relaxed feeling whenever the tac deploy beacon is down, rather than just enemies spawning all over the place in that one little area. Next up, they talked about body armor, and this is something that was a controversial topic about Black Ops 4, but unfortunately the body armor is just not going away anywhere, and they are making changes to it to make it more balanced and not as overpowered. So some of the things that they're changing for the body armor is that the body armor will no longer protect a player against explosives. They did mention how explosives should be shredding through armor and that it wasn't working correctly in the beta, and that they're going to be fixing that. Another thing that they mentioned is that damage is now reduced by armor rather than being completely deflected by it. So basically the body armor at first protected you from that one extra shot that was initially shot by the enemy that's shooting at you, but now instead of deflecting that bullet completely, it's just going to reduce the damage that's inflicted by that bullet, which is I guess a little bit better, but I feel like it's still not enough, and that the body armor should just go away completely. Another thing that they did was that they added extra 25 points of a bonus score for somebody who took out an enemy that was using body armor, which we kind of saw within Weekend 2, and that they're also experimenting with a number of ideas to better support its role while also making it less appealing to highly aggressive players, for example impacting certain aspects of movement speed or protection cover area. So this is great because those of you guys who are wanting to use the body armor could possibly be in a situation where you're not moving as fast as those who aren't using it, and maybe aren't as protected by their environment as they would be if a player wasn't using it. So in a way it kind of gives people an incentive to use the body armor, but at the same time it gives people a reason to not use it, and that's better than just having only one reason, and that is a good reason to use the body armor, if that made any sense whatsoever. But basically what I'm trying to say is that this is going to help people to want to explore other things within the gear section of that pick 10 system. And finally, the small things that they are changing are the free cursor UI navigation, which is basically that cursor that we saw within the main menus of the multiplayer, and a lot of people just didn't like using that cursor. They want to use their D-pads and just kind of do it like the way Call of Duty has always done it. And the good news is that they are also going to be changing the menu navigation system, in which you can use the D-pad if you want, but at the same time you can also use the cursor as well. So it kind of balances between two groups of people who like two different things about how they navigate through the menus. So that's a nice touch that they're adding to the multiplayer. And the last thing is the loadouts and kill cams, which is basically whenever you get taken out by an enemy, you never get to see what their loadout was. You don't know what weapon they were using, what perks they were using, what score streaks they were using. You just don't know what they were using, and a lot of people are annoyed at that, and low-key I'm kind of annoyed about that too. And the good thing is that it's going to be within the final build of the game, and it wasn't in the beta for some reason, but the good thing is it's still going to be part of the multiplayer later on eventually. And that's pretty much all of the changes that are going to be coming to Black Ops 4 in terms of these specific issues alone. Like I said, there are many more issues that have come up in the beta that are just as important as the ones that were listed within this Reddit post, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to be focusing on those issues later on after they're done facing these ones. But that's all I have for you guys within this video, you guys. So if you guys enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, click the bell icon so you'll never miss an upload, and follow me on my social media accounts to stay connected. And let me know what you guys think about these changes that are coming to Black Ops 4, and also about the way that Treyarch is handling the communication between them and the community. So I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below once again. And as always, I will talk to you guys in the next video. Take care of yourselves, and bye.